You know that sudden feeling when everything in your life feels overwhelming, and without really planning it, you start cleaning? Not casually tidying, but intensely organizing. Wiping surfaces, throwing things away, rearranging spaces like something inside you urgently needs order. And the strange part is, it actually works. Your mood shifts. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts feel clearer. For a moment, life feels manageable again. Most people think this is just productivity or procrastination, but psychologically, something much deeper is happening. Cleaning doesn't just change your environment. It changes your sense of control. Human brains are extremely sensitive to uncertainty. When work feels unpredictable, relationships feel complicated, or emotions feel messy. The mind searches for something stable it can influence immediately, and your physical environment becomes the easiest target. Unlike life's bigger problems, a messy room offers clear rules. You can see progress. You can finish tasks. You decide what stays and what goes. Psychologists call this perceived control restoration. When external situations feel chaotic, creating order in a physical space sends a powerful signal to your nervous system. I can still influence my world. That signal alone reduces stress responses. Studies show clutter increases cortisol levels, the hormone associated with tension and overwhelm. Your brain constantly processes visual information even when you're not paying attention consciously. Piles of objects, unfinished tasks, and disorganization quietly remind your mind of incompletion. Every item becomes a tiny open loop competing for attention. So when you start cleaning, you're not just removing objects. You're closing mental tabs your brain has been trying to track all day. And every completed action delivers a small dopamine reward. That's why throwing something away or organizing a drawer feels surprisingly satisfying. It's not about the object. It's about resolution. Cleaning also creates something modern life rarely gives us: immediate cause and effect. You wipe a surface, and it becomes clean instantly. You organize a shelf, and the result appears right in front of you. In a world where effort often takes weeks or months to pay off, this instant feedback feels deeply calming. Your brain finally experiences completion instead of endless anticipation. There's also an emotional layer people rarely notice. Cleaning often appears during moments of transition. After stressful days, arguments, major decisions, or emotional uncertainty, people suddenly feel the urge to reset their space. That's because physical environments act as psychological mirrors. Changing the outside helps the brain process internal change. You're not just cleaning a room, you're symbolically starting over. And this explains why some people clean late at night or during emotionally heavy periods. The action creates movement when thoughts feel stuck. Order replaces confusion. Stillness becomes manageable again. But here's where it becomes more interesting. The satisfaction doesn't come from perfection. It comes from agency. Even small acts of organization remind your brain that chaos is not permanent, that you can influence outcomes even in small ways. And once that feeling begins, your mind starts calming faster than you expect. Because control, even temporary control, is one of the strongest psychological regulators we have. And understanding that changes how you see the urge to clean entirely. What makes cleaning feel so powerful is that it doesn't just organize objects, it organizes attention. Modern life constantly pulls your focus in dozens of directions at once. Notifications, unfinished responsibilities, conversations left unresolved, decisions waiting to be made. Your brain carries all of this quietly in the background, creating a low-level sense of pressure that is difficult to explain, but easy to feel. Cleaning interrupts that pressure. It gives your mind a single clear objective. Instead of thinking about everything at once, your attention narrows to one visible task. Psychologists sometimes describe this as cognitive grounding. When physical action anchors mental activity back into the present moment, that's why cleaning often feels calming, even when it requires effort. Your thoughts stop racing ahead because your brain finally has something concrete to follow. There's also a deeper emotional mechanism connected to identity. The spaces we live in reflect versions of ourselves, past goals, old habits, unfinished phases of life. When clutter builds up, It can feel like those past versions are still lingering around us. Letting go of objects becomes a quiet form of emotional updating. You're not just throwing things away. You're deciding who you are now compared to who you used to be. That process creates relief because it reduces internal conflict between past and present identities. This is why people often clean after major life moments, breakups, new beginnings, stressful changes, or periods of uncertainty. The environment becomes a reset button the brain can actually press. And unlike solving complicated life problems, cleaning provides visible transformation quickly. The room changes, and your emotional state follows. Another reason cleaning feels restorative is predictability. When life feels unpredictable, your nervous system stays slightly alert, waiting for the next problem. Organized spaces reduce unpredictability. You know where things are? You know what to expect visually. Your brain spends less energy scanning for disorder, which frees mental resources for thinking and emotional regulation. For some people, this effect is especially strong because their brains are more sensitive to environmental signals. A cluttered space feels loud even when it's silent. A clean space feels quiet even when nothing else has changed. And maybe that's why the urge to clean can feel almost urgent at times. It isn't about perfection or productivity. It's about restoring psychological balance. Cleaning becomes a way of telling yourself, without words, that things can be reset, that chaos can be reduced, that progress is still possible. And here's the part most people miss. People who feel relief from cleaning are not avoiding their problems. They are regulating themselves so they can face those problems with a calmer mind. Order outside creates enough stability for order inside to begin forming again. So the next time you suddenly feel the need to clean when life feels overwhelming, it may not be random at all. It may be your brain reaching for one of the simplest ways to regain clarity and control. Some people talk through stress. Others exercise. And some quietly start organizing their surroundings, creating calm, one small action at a time. And if this explanation felt familiar, you're probably not the only one who experiences that shift. You can subscribe if you want to explore more of the psychology behind everyday behaviors that seem ordinary on the surface, but reveal something deeper about how the human mind finds balance in a complicated world.